Pakistan is doing something right now that most people in crypto and honestly, most governments will still don't fully understand. They're not just adopting blockchain. No, not at all. They are attempting to redesign the architecture of the nation state itself. And at the center of this entire strategy is ICP, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not Solana, but ICP. Now, pause for a second and really think about what that actually means. We're talking about a country state with more than 240 million people, a massive youth population, one of the fastest growing digital economies in South Asia, and a government that has openly declared digital sovereignty, AI infrastructure, cloud independence, and decentralized public systems as national priorities. This is not some random pilot project. This is state-level core infrastructure planning. And what makes this even more important here today is that Pakistan's government is not approaching this like a typical emerging market trying to just say, catch up. Not at all. They are trying to leapfrog straight into artificial intelligence native governance, Web3 native systems, sovereign digital identity, on-chain public core infrastructure. And the reason ICP matters here is because ICP is one of the only blockchain infrastructures on the planet Earth that can actually support and has been designed to do this at scale. And this is what nobody is talking about. Because if Pakistan succeeds, and most likely will, this could become one of the biggest real-world adoption cases for ICP that we've ever seen, and potentially one of the most important macro moments for Web3 utility in years. And here's what most people, they still don't understand. The global digital economy is entering a brand new phase, because for the last 15 years, countries outsourced almost everything. We're talking they outsource cloud infrastructure, they outsource their data storage, digital identity systems, also the complete payment rails, also communication, outsourced AI compute, all to foreign hyperscalers, all those centralized clouds like Amazon, Google, Microsoft Azure. And for the longest time, that has worked, yes. But artificial intelligence has changed everything as we know it, because AI is not just software. AI, it becomes exponentially more powerful when it actually controls your data in the process. It controls your compute and also controls your digital identity, your government infrastructure. When AI controls your payment systems and controls the governments around the world, they start to realize something extremely dangerous is happening. Just say, for instance, if another country controls your digital infrastructure, they indirectly control your economy. They hold you at ransom. They can. And that's why sovereign AI has suddenly become one of the biggest geopolitical priorities on the planet Earth. And Pakistan fully understands this. And that's why the Islamabad AI Declaration matters so much here. Because they openly stated by voice that they want full AI sovereignty. They want compute sovereignty and full data sovereignty, interoperability. They also stated they want independent digital governance. Now, here's where ICP, the World Computer, enters the picture, because it is uniquely positioned, because it's not just another token ecosystem. It's a fully stacked, decentralized infrastructure. And that distinction here is absolutely critical, because ICP can host full applications on-chain, databases fully on-chain, smart contracts, websites fully on-chain, full on-chain AI integrations, identity systems, messaging systems. Entire systems can run directly on-chain, front-end and back-end. And that is fundamentally different from every other blockchain in existence, because all chains still rely heavily on centralized cloud providers somewhere in the background, and they still call themselves decentralized when they're not. And ICP can eliminate that dependency entirely. And for governments pursuing full sovereignty like Pakistan, this obviously becomes incredibly attractive. Pakistan is not just moving towards this because it sounds futuristic at its core. Not at all. They're moving because economically they have no choice. And real quick, if you find this kind of analysis you just heard valuable to you, I want to let you know here about something. I've built a community on Patreon. It's called the Crypto Republic Desk Monthly. Me and my partner, we have over 500 members. The link is in the pinned comments below. And we do exactly this kind of research every single day in, day out. We dig into on-chain data, macro trends, adoption metrics, and study the underlying fundamentals to discover underappreciated assets. And we're a group of people in the community. We pride ourselves on, we study the fundamentals and emerging trends in both crypto and equity space to find undervalued opportunities. Just pure research, data, and honest conversation. We've had members tell us that the depth of the research and the community perspective has been an absolute game changer for how they view the markets. And if that sounds like your kind of community, check the pinned comment. The link is in the description, and come say hello, and we'd love to have you there. Now, let's get back to the data. Let's talk macro for a second here. Pakistan has a rapidly growing youth population, massive mobile penetration that's expandingly growing, expanding internet adoption at its core, also rising digital entrepreneurship, a growing massive freelance economy, and one of the largest pools of IT talent in all the region of South Asia. But there's a problem here. The traditional outsourcing model that Pakistan has run is being disrupted by artificial intelligence at breakneck speed. Tasks that used to, say, generate hundreds of dollars in the past can now be automated with AI tools in just minutes. And what does that mean for countries like Pakistan, dependent on low-cost digital labor? They are put under pressure. And Pakistan's government clearly sees this from afar. So instead of resisting artificial intelligence, they are working to rebuild the economy around AI infrastructure itself. And this is a massive difference here, because they are essentially asking, how do we become owners of the next future digital stack instead of renters inside someone else's ecosystem? And that is a sophisticated strategic question. And ICP fits directly into that vision, because ICP enables full sovereign infrastructure at its core. It offers full decentralized compute, tamper-proof systems at its core also, and scalable Web3 applications. This why we're looking at also AI integrations, also at its core verifiable digital government, all while not having dependence on foreign cloud monopolies. And this is why the ICP partnership with Pakistan is so critically important, because Pakistan is not just experimenting with blockchain speculation, not at all. They are testing blockchain as a core national security infrastructure. Then this changes the entire conversation. Now let's get in depth. Because one of the biggest hidden problems in developing economies today is institutional trust. And this matters more than most people actually realize. Just think about how governments function today. Need approvals, documents, tracks, laws, TV verification, licensing. Most of it still, depends on the same old centralized databases. And centralized databases can be manipulated at any time, not theoretically, practically. And that creates friction across the entire economy as we know it. Now imagine replacing that vulnerable databases with immutable core infrastructure. And that's what ICP can enable. And this is where things get extremely powerful, because ICP is not just about, decentralization for ideological reasons. It's about verifiability. If records become tamper-proof, you know what this means? Corruption becomes much harder to pull off. Fraud becomes much harder to take place. And trust automatically improves. And at the same time, transactions costs decrease, and also digital commerce accelerating the economic growth. And this is why Pakistan's interest in ICP is actually logical from an institutional perspective, especially when they're discussing, from their own words, sovereign messaging systems. They're also discussing digital credentials, Web3 native governance. These are all the words that they are describing from the government officials themselves, discussing about digital negotiable instruments. This is not crypto hype here. They're talking about infrastructure modernization for the government. And honestly, there's no other blockchain even close or capable of supporting this kind of ambition technically. And before we move on, I want to do a quick check-in here today. If you're finding value from this video here today so far, please just take a moment to hit the like button. It significantly helps the reach for this channel to get it out there for more people to know what's happening. Or I'd also love to hear your perspective on whether you think governments adopting decentralized infrastructure is actually bullish, positive for the economy, or dangerous? And please share your thoughts also in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more content like this, also be sure to subscribe and feel free also to share this video with a colleague or friend who might benefit from it. All right, let's get back right into it. Now, here's a part most people in crypto are completely underestimating. Mass adoption will not come from memes. It will not come from speculation. And it probably won't even come from retail investors. Mass adoption will come when infrastructure disappears into everyday life, when people use systems without even realizing blockchain is underneath them. And that is what the ICP thesis and Pakistan may become one of the first major demonstrations of that model. Just think about the stack being discussed here today. Just think about it at its core. Sovereign cloud infrastructure. We're talking about digital identity. We're talking about artificial intelligence native government systems. We're talking about decentralized data residency. We're talking about post-quantum cryptography at its core with on-chain decentralized applications. Talking sovereign communication systems for the government. This is not a DeFi narrative. This is nation scale core infrastructure. And ICP's architecture is unusually aligned for this because Catalyst's function like scalable software, containers, applications, they can run fully decentralized on chain, front end and back end. Identity systems are native. Storage is integrated at its core, and also computation also too is integrated at its core. Front end, back end can run directly from the protocol. And that's a radically different model compared to every other blockchain in existence that's all relies heavily on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, or any other centralized hosting layers. Now imagine when Pakistan can successfully deploy this, and when they will, sovereign digital ID, we're talking government messaging, decentralized infrastructure, Web3 native records, decentralized cloud systems, AI integrated governance tools for the Pakistani government, all on ICP core infrastructure. And that becomes one of the strongest real-world validation events for ICP globally, hands down, because suddenly ICP is no longer listed as another crypto project. It becomes proof that the decentralized core infrastructure can support national scale systems. And if one country proves it works, others will start on it, especially emerging markets, especially governments who are worried. And they are massively worried about data controls. They're worried about AI dependence. They're worried about digital sovereignty. They're worried about the increasing threat of cybersecurity that's escalating geopolitical vulnerability in this fragmented world. This is where the opportunity becomes massive, becomes exponential. Now let's talk about the AI angle, because this is where the story becomes absolutely explosive, because most governments are still reacting to artificial intelligence. But what Pakistan is trying to do is operationalize it. And that's a huge difference, because the government has openly acknowledged that AI threatens traditional outsourcing models. They've said it in their own words, and that level of honesty is rare. And instead of pretending nothing is changing, they launched and they reacted. Their AI Week policy roundtable, AI governance frameworks, they're working to solve the problem. Public sector training initiatives, they've taken the action, workforce reskilling strategies, and this matters because AI without sovereign infrastructure creates dependency. And if your AI stack depends entirely, say on a foreign cloud, centralized provider, you lose your strategic leverage. And Pakistan has identified that. And that's why ICP has become incredibly relevant, because ICP introduces the possibility of decentralized sovereign AI infrastructure at its core. And now you combine that with sovereign compute, sovereign identity, you combine that with sovereign storage, you combine that with decentralized governance, you combine that with our applications at the government level, and you suddenly are no longer talking about a blockchain project. No, not at all. You're talking about the architecture of future digital assets. That's a scale of conversation, and almost nobody in the mainstream media is even covering or looking at it correctly or avoiding it. Now let's zoom out, because Pakistan itself is only part of the story here, because the real macro implication is this. If and when ICP succeeds in helping governments deploy sovereign digital infrastructure, which is working with Pakistan, and also Switzerland, the addressable market becomes enormous, not millions. We're talking billions of users, because every government faces all the same pressures. They are facing the AI disruption process, the security threats that are only going to grow exponentially in this new AI age, data sovereignty concerns in a globally bifurcated world through war, cloud dependence, digital identity challenges also, public trust deficits, and also traditional systems. They are struggling to keep up with the current AI implication. This is why ICP's opportunity is much bigger than crypto, and what most investors don't actually see and realize, because ICP isn't competing in a category far, far away to the speculative coins. It's competing for infrastructure relevance that the other coins can't match. That's a completely different level. If ICP becomes associated with national digital systems, what it's working on, sovereign cloud infrastructure at the government level, AI native governance, post-quantum security, because it's built for that quantum future with decentralized public services, then adoption dynamics change dramatically. At that point, the value proposition for the world computer is no longer theoretical. It becomes institutional, and Pakistan's digital transformation is not guaranteed to succeed. Nothing's 100%. There's also risks: economic instability, execution complexity, political pressures, structure challenges. I get that. But what matters here is that they are attempting something extraordinary, and they see the future. They're trying to position for that future, and they are trying to redesign governance for the AI era, because they know where AI is going. And ISP is positioned directly inside of that transformation here. And that is why this matters so much, because for the first time in years, we are seeing governments actually explore blockchain not as a speculative bet, but as a foundational core infrastructure. And if this model works in Pakistan, it will become a blueprint for other nations pursuing digital sovereignty in the age of artificial intelligence. And that's why this story actually deserves a lot of attention. Not hype, not attention, because beneath all the actual headlines, the new digital architecture is already forming. And ICP is at the core of becoming one of the most important infrastructure layers, powering it when it pulls it off. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. You being here actually shows that you are truly invested in revolutionary tech. And if you haven't already, please also hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications on, so we can actually continue to grow and learn together. And also, if you gained something actually valuable today, leave a like. And also let me know your biggest takeaway in the comment section. Finally, please share this with someone in your network or a friend who could actually use this information. And remember to stay decentralized. And I will see you on the internet computer. Thank you again for your time, and I will see you in the next video.